Let's talk about saving to study abroad. It is hot here in Korea, in Seoul. It is I was warned that it'd be really hot. It's more humid than it is hot, but I have never felt more disgusting in my life than I feel while I'm here in Korea. It is incredibly difficult to feel attractive here in the middle of July when the humidity is just destroying your will to leave your room. I was telling my friend yesterday, there's a nice image for you guys. This is how I felt. I told her that I felt like I just got blown out of the nose of a giraffe. There's a nice image for you, but it was the most accurate description I've ever come up with in my life. I was very, very proud. So you can take that, keep it, put it in your pocket, and use it when it feels like it's appropriate that you've been blown out of the nose of a giraffe. It's my gift to you. So let's get this started about talking about saving to study abroad, as my hair just does its own thing. Sorry if the sound quality is pretty bad. I'm filming this on my phone because I am a broke student who used all her money to go study abroad so she could film this video for you. You're welcome. So let's just pop right into it. So number one, tip for studying abroad, saving to study abroad, is be prepared to sacrifice having a life back home. And that's definitely one of the main things that comes up, because all your money that you're saving should be going towards your trip, because it's something that you're saving for, right? So one of the main things that I've noticed when I was saving to study abroad, and one of my friends actually said this to me, was, do you want to spend that money here or do you want to spend it over there? Do you want that coffee here or do you want that coffee in Korea or Japan? Do you want to buy that makeup here or over? And I found that was actually very helpful because it's very true. You could be spending your money at home on little things that adds up, $2 here, $5 here, $6 here. And suddenly you spend $50 and you don't even know how, when you could have spent that $50 during your trip. So I found that to be very helpful. But in the context of giving up having a social life and giving up really doing much, it's the same thing. It's just the best advice is don't spend your money going out. In Vancouver, where I live, it's actually very expensive to go out, especially downtown, and I decided not to. I barely went out. I maybe grabbed a couple drinks here and there with some friends, but generally I really skimped on my money. I didn't buy new clothing unless I absolutely needed it. And I really tried not to eat out. I really tried to just limit my spending, because in the back of my head I was going, well, I want that money for Korea and I can always spend that money when I come home. So just be prepared to make sacrifices financially, in the sense of just not buying yourself things and not going out as much, if at all, and just your social life may take a hit because you won't be able to go out as much if you're really serious about saving to study abroad. And I feel like that's actually a big reason why people don't study abroad. I feel like the first reason might be they're scared to go abroad, especially to a country that doesn't speak their language. And the other reason is finances. In most schools, I know with mine, there are scholarships that are offered when it comes to, helping with money, and student loans. You can use that because you are technically studying abroad. You're still studying, you're with a school, so you should be able to get student loans, at least in Canada. But I feel like the out-of-pocket money, the saving the money bit, is really difficult for some people to do or want to commit to, but it's a big portion, and you shouldn't let something like money, if you're able, of course. I don't want to say everyone's able to. Unfortunately, not everyone is able to save for it because of life circumstances, but if you're able to, you should really try. Don't let it be something that keeps you from going abroad. That was a little tangent. On to number two, tip for saving to study abroad is be prepared to work a lot. I didn't make it really a secret that I worked 3 jobs while saving to go abroad. I worked 2 jobs from my university, and another one of it was freelancing my artwork. So I was working 3 jobs. Sometimes I was pulling 14-hour days, and it sucked. But I just reminded myself why I was doing it, and even then that was hard sometimes. Sometimes I'd just be like, is it worth it? Luckily it was. I got here and I was like, it was totally worth it. But in that moment, it is very difficult, and sometimes it can be extremely discouraging. But that's my thing. Like, that's all I can really say, is you're gonna have to be prepared to work a lot. I'm finding it very difficult to talk right now because it is so hot. I sound so whiny, but it is so hot. Oh, I'm not built for this kind of weather. Jesus. As I was saying, that was a pretty image. That was nice. That was a good one, Nicola. You should do that face whenever you see someone handsome. Anyways, just be prepared to work a lot. Be prepared to make sacrifices and be prepared to work a lot. And if you really want it, you're gonna make it happen. But you know, take shifts when you can, work a second job if you can, be prepared to put time into working instead of going out. Just be prepared to make sacrifices, that's the main thing, and be okay with it and work towards it. Because I feel, like I said, if you really want something, you're gonna work for it if you're able to. And budget is number 3. Budget, 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 and over budget. I feel like a lot of people under budget, or their budget like right to the dollar, like as much as they'll need, and they won't give themselves any wiggle room, which I feel is a really big no-no. Whenever I budget, even just for travel in general, I always budget by like an extra hundreds of dollars, so I have that wiggle room. Yes, it means I'm working a ton more than maybe I have to, but with that, I always had things come up, like unexpected expenses, or maybe a trip I didn't know that I'd want to do when I got to this particular city or particular country, and then I'm like, oh, I want to do that. And I have the money because I budgeted that wiggle room. And I especially learned that when I went to Scotland, and I got pretty sick in Scotland, and luckily I had that room because I ended up having to buy like a decent amount of medication and a decent amount on taking care of myself while I was sick there. And I didn't have to stress about the money I was putting into it because I had that wiggle room. And I feel a lot of people just, they don't do that. They don't want that wiggle room. They'll budget less, or they'll budget right to the dollar, but no, budget more, because then you don't have to worry about the money. And then, like I said, if something comes up that you want to do or you want to buy, you have that wiggle room, and you don't have to worry that you are maybe, you know, gonna screw yourself over because you didn't budget enough, or you just didn't budget enough. So be on top of your budget, like completely be on top of it. And don't be scared to have to take a few more, or 10 more, or 15 more shifts in order to give yourself that wiggle room, because trust me, you'll appreciate it, especially when it comes up that you need to use it. So those are my tips for studying abroad. They are fairly common sense, but I've been asked by people pretty often, more back home and sometimes through direct message, like, how did you manage to do it? And it's literally just saving, like it's literally me just wanting to do it. So I made sure I could do it, and I took the steps, and I made the sacrifices I need to make. I'm just gonna lean back here. Made the sacrifices I need to make in order to make it happen. And I don't come from a well-off family. I work a lot, and you know, finances have never been something that came easy for me and my family, but I've made it work and I made it happen. And I think it's because, one, my personality is very assertive, and when I want something, I go for it. And two, I've just always been taught to budget my money and be on top of my money and not be frivolous with it. So those are my tips. I hope they're helpful. If you have any other questions, you can feel free to DM me or just ask in the comments. And if they're too common sense for you, I'm sorry, but I feel like I've been asked it enough times that maybe it's not so common sense, and maybe some people do need to be pointed out that if you want this here, you know, do you want to buy this here, or do you want to buy it where you're traveling, or have the wiggle room and the money, and be prepared to work more and not spend your money on things, but put your money in savings, which I feel like is a big thing a lot of people don't realize is don't buy things, just put the money in savings, because so many people say they can't save for travel, but then they go buy a $400 purse, and that's something I will never understand. Don't whine to me that you can't travel if you're gonna go spend that money like that. So yeah. So till next time, I'm gonna go and attempt to brave the heat. And I will see you next time. As you can see, I'm trying to upload for you guys while I'm here. So